Hey there, my name is John Foster. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the car that is behind me here. It's a 1970 Plymouth Cuda. I bought it in 1997 from a guy in Sioux City, Nebraska. Brought it home, and over the next 4 or 5 years built the car. Made my father the project manager of this car. And for 4 years, he worked with 4 other professional builders. One was an engine builder, one was a chassis builder, one was body and paint, one was interior. And it was a father and son project that went on for, as I say, about 4 to 5 years. And we just got the car finished about 3 or 4 months before my father passed away. So it has a lot of sentimental value to me. And the guys that were involved with building the car were just amazing through the whole project. But it's got a 440 cubic inch engine that was stroked out to 496 cubic inches. It makes about 700 horsepower to the flywheel. It was just rebuilt and put back in this car on Sunday, 6 days ago. So this is the first car show it's been to since the engine was completely rebuilt and refreshened. It's got a 727 TorqueFlite automatic transmission. Goes back to a Dana 60 rear end with 456 gears and a Detroit locker. It's all tied together with a 4-link suspension. It's got a 12-point roll cage in it throughout the car. And the car should run down well into the 10s. So based on everything that it's got, we figure about 1050, about 130 miles an hour and a quarter.
Or faster.
And so it's not only looks good, but it'll really go.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. We're having fun at the show here in Raleigh, and we're excited to hear about Pro Street coming back.
Okay. All right. Now what I want to know is, what made you do this? What was the driving force?
All right. Well, it goes back to growing up and where I came from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I grew up at Minnesota Dragways. My mom and dad were the general managers of Minnesota Dragways. So I grew up around a drag strip my entire life. In the process of all that, running with all the racers, local racers and stuff were there. One of the guys was John Hagan. And he's deceased now, but he ran super stock and pro stock. All Plymouth Cudas, Barracudas and stuff in the 60s and 70s before he later passed away in a racing accident. But I caught the bug of the Plymouth Cuda, the E-body, from him back in the early 70s when it came out, and I drew them in high school. So instead of doing all my studies, I'm drawing pictures of Cudas and how I want a car one day to look. So this is a dream from childhood, or a teenhood anyway, that was a realization many years later. So that's kind of how it all started.
Okay, now do you race this car?
Not yet, no.
Oh, you will?
Well, I'd love to. I mean, the only thing is when you race stuff, you break some things.
Oh yeah.
And I've got a lot of money in the thing, and
right.
I'm just a little concerned that if I get to start to racing it, I know I'm going to want to race it more and more, and I'm just not quite sure I want to turn it into a race car, because even though it's built for racing as well as show, I'm just a little nervous about racing it with as much as I got into the car.
Okay, now the reason why I asked you about that, because you have a 700 horsepower engine. Is this a pump gas engine?
It runs on race gas, 110 octane race gas.
Okay, all right. Okay, and so the bug for racing is what hit you.
Yeah, well, being around it all my life. And And I knew it when I built the car. I told the guys, I said, not only it needs to look good, but it needs to run well and be built for any kind of engine combination I want to put in here.
And who built this engine?
Chuck Lofgren and Travis Knowlton from Knowlton Racing Engines up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The whole car was built in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay. I mean, because when you have a Pro Street car, you kind of restoring the car twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take this car, they just restored it.
Yep.
But Pro Street is a whole different ball game, because you have the engine, you have the roll cage, you have the tubbing, okay? Then you have the fuel cell, then you have the fuel pump. All of this stuff, when you do a factory restoration, you stop at the factory restoration. When you do one of these, I mean, look at this stuff. You have you have all of this. Look, you have carpet in the trunk. I mean, this is, and Big Daddy signed this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the value of the car just went up with his signature.
Wow. Wow. Okay. And that's
my dad came up with the name for that license plate, Big Bucks. When we were trying to figure out a personalized license plate, and I said, "What do you think?" And he says, "Big Bucks." I said, "That's it," and it stuck.
And it's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
And I see the racing heritage. The racing heritage is what you have, and I can tell that it was influenced. So really, it's not your fault.
Well,
it's not your fault. Okay, so you can blame. Oh man, and then I didn't even notice this at first. The Cuda.
Yeah, the Cuda embroidery in the trunk pad.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for telling me about this car. I mean, and you know what? Speaking of